Good evening and Vanakkam District 120. My name is Jayachitra Ramakrishnan. I'm part of the PR team. Last week, I misspelled someone's name, and that too, it's Jayan Narayanan. He sent an angry emoji on WhatsApp. All these while, I was thinking his name as Jayan Narayan. Actually, it is Jayan Narayanan. Names make us special to ourselves and others around us. It is our identity. When someone spells our name wrong, we get hurt. Same way for any corporate or an organization, their names and their brand are very critical. As a member of a 95-year-old organization, it is our prime duty to represent it in a right way. The best way to represent the Toastmasters brand is to keep it consistent in its look, feel, and messaging. Today, in our session, we are going to hear about the branding guidelines defined by Toastmasters International. Before we start the session, let us hear from our Program Quality Director, Toastmaster Satish Menon, to share a few words. Over to you, Satish.
Thank you, JC, and good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Welcome to our first session on branding. Why is branding so important? Let's start with ourselves. Each one of us in this world today is a brand. The way we represent ourselves, the way we project ourselves, we are a brand, and we want to kind of keep up that brand. And we get very offended if people talk things which are not right about us, if they misrepresent facts about us, if they use our photos or our write-ups or something which is personal to us on forums without our permission. It's the same for organizations. Just as we are very protective about ourselves as a brand, even organizations are very protective about their brands. All of us in this audience today either work for a corporate or would have worked for a corporate or have our own organizations which we run. And each one of that has a brand associated to it. We can't be using brands at our whims and fancies, because behind every brand, there is a story, there is a value attached. And organizations, the way they project the brand, the way they want their members to portray that brand, there is a lot that it signifies. And that is something that we all have to keep in mind in Toastmasters when we use the brand and the logo and other Toastmasters material to further our growth, at the same time to further the movement. The reason for us doing this session today is to make each one of you aware of how to use the brand effectively, and at the same time, certain do's and don'ts, since we are dealing with a global organization and a global brand. Thank you all for turning up in such large numbers on a Friday evening to enrich your knowledge. And I'm sure this session will help you to clear a lot of your misconceptions or dispel a lot of the thoughts that you had in your mind in terms of how to use a brand or how not to use the brand. So happy learning, happy listening, and I look forward to all of you going back much more enlightened and empowered after this session. Back to you, Jayachitra.
Thank you, Satish. Thanks for that wonderful note on how branding and how much value we need to give for a branding. So friends, today's session will be conducted by our own distinguished Toastmaster, who is our current district PR chair. Though a lot of people know him very well, still any Toastmaster event we can't start without a proper introduction. So today's session is being conducted by DTM Jayan Narayanan. He is the founder and managing partner of Toss the Coin, the coolest marketing and training outsourcing company based in Chennai. Jayan joined the Toastmasters Club in 2006, and he is a motivational speaker, executive coach, and a corporate trainer. He has delivered over 1,100 speeches, keynotes, lectures, and workshops across the globe. He has been on the admissions interview panel of management schools, including IIM. He is the charter member of Professional Speakers Association of India. Ladies and gentlemen, Toastmasters, please join me in welcoming our own district PR chair, distinguished Toastmaster Jayan Narayanan, for a session on Toastmasters branding. Over to you, Jayan.
Thank you, Jai Chitra. It's such a pleasure to be here, hearing a lot about branding. I created a PPT to give some gyan on branding, and after listening to Jai Chitra and Satish, I'm just wondering if I should skip those slides or maybe discard the PPT that I have. So quickly, thank you so much for joining in. That shows the kind of enthusiasm we all have. Some of you are stuck maybe as a VP PR of your club or as a president of your club. You're a little stuck because each time you come out with a promotional material, there is somebody pointing fingers at your creative poster and saying, no, that's not the right thing to do. Now that hurts us, right? And I've been through this several times in my life. Forget Toastmasters life, my official life, because all along I've been doing marketing and branding. Every time I step across the borderline, I get penalized. So today I want to make sure that there are two words which are taboo. We will not use those two words: compliance and violation. Compliance and violation. These are two words we will try and not use it. If you hear from me, raise a flag. But I'll make sure that I will not use these two words, and let's see how it goes, because the biggest confusion all of us have is when we hear these two words when we talk about the brand. I'm going to quickly jump into the PPT because I want to save as much time as possible for us to be interacting. So I think that's the best thing that we can do. So I'm going to share my PPT. I hope all of you are able to see my screen. If any of you, I just see very few people on my screen. Yeah, okay, I see a thumbs up from Satish. Great. So this is, yeah, I didn't start in between. This is my opening slide. I want you to just read what is there on the slide. These are two famous personalities that many of you know. So what Richard Branson is saying is branding is everything. And what Jeff is saying, brand is what people are talking about when you're not in the room. These are two powerful things. And I wanted to start with this because some of you might think, oh, a brand, why should I follow the guidelines? It's okay if I'm a little creative. What if I use this color? What is wrong? People are not complaining. Why are you guys complaining? This is what runs in our mind, right? But when it comes to a brand, many organizations are very finicky about it because a brand means a whole lot of things. For me, a brand means emotions. So I'm going to keep it a little interactive. I hope all of you have access to the chat here, right? So let's go ahead and see. So what is your favorite brand? If I were to ask you, what is your favorite brand and what comes to your mind when you think about your favorite brand? If you could just write it in that chat, just two words. In fact, if you ask me, what is your favorite brand? My answer is, my favorite brand is Tata. And what comes to my mind when I think about Tata is trust. There could be many attributes attached to that brand, but something that off my mind, I can think of whenever I think of my favorite brand is Tata. And I just want to hear from some of you as to what is your favorite brand and what comes to your mind when you think about your favorite brand. So if I can see the chat, do I have access to the chat? Yeah. Oh, there are at least 42 people writing there. Samsung, Maruti, Adidas means endurance. Lalita Jewelry, I think. Okay, fine. Here for good, right? Microsoft, Coca-Cola, Apple, wow, Apple, Nike, okay, Amazon, quite a lot of you. Bahubali, is that a brand? Yeah, why not? Okay. Patanjali, okay, with all the controversies going on, yeah, but still, why not? Yeah, Bata Maggi is part of Nestle, but that's a brand that you can be associated with. But I want to know what comes to your mind. Brand hyphen, what comes to your mind? Yeah, MI is cheap and effective phone. Yeah, that way. What comes to your mind when you think of the brand? You can just go ahead and write again. Amazon is smile, fantastic. Robert Bosch is quality, fantastic. Samsung, recover from the worst. Wow. Is that what comes to your mind? Asian Paints, my favorite brand again. Yeah, Fiat for quality, Google for product value, ITC for diversification, fantastic. Wildcraft for adventure. Yeah, Apple for simplicity. Is that what it is? Okay, great. Amul, cute little girl. Wow, yeah, it's a great brand. Dairy Milk, happiness. Hubble, okay. Humorous Club. Wow, okay, somebody just spoke about a Toastmasters Club. Okay, Sony, clarity. Okay, Nippon, Blobby, all right, okay. Audi, luxury, fantastic. Talapakatti, authentic. Wow, high five for that, Joe. Okay, right. LG, innovative, best. I want all of you to read what is coming up there. Look at how people are attached to brands and what they feel about their brands with just one word, right? So keep that coming. But if I keep reading all that, our 1 hour will go off. So my next question is, what comes to your mind when you, let me move this here. When you think about this brand? So keep it coming. So we will stop with your favorite brand. What comes to your mind? Just one word, if you can just put it up there. When you hear Toastmasters, when you see that logo Toastmasters, what comes to your mind? Speaking, yes. Development, yeah. Leader, grow. Oh my God, people are like so fast. I'm not even able to catch up with what you guys are typing. Okay. Okay. Communication. Okay. Yeah. Public speaking. Is that all? What comes to your mind? Professional. Yeah. Mike. Confidence, improvement, development, right? Global. Stand-up comedy. Who's that? Okay. Right. The stage. Wow. Networking, non-profit, quality, enriching, global network, exposure. Somebody said giant. I'm going to take you out for dinner. I forgot who wrote that. All right, networking. Right. Great. So, okay. I didn't know there were so many obedient Toastmasters. I asked them a question. They just flood with answers. Great. So thank you so much. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, my name is cropping up there. That's a nice sign. I don't know. Great. So now we know that what Toastmasters means for all of us, right? Each of us associate Toastmasters in a completely different way, which is absolutely fine. But we need to be very clear that most of the people associate with the brand only in a certain way. If they're getting associated with a brand in multiple ways, it means they're confused about the brand. In multiple ways around the same subject is fine, but multiple ways in different directions is not fine. If somebody sees Toastmasters and you ask them, what do you think it is? They keep blinking and then say, is it about toasting? Or it is about somebody who toasts breads really well? No, that's the kind of reaction I've had from a lot of people who don't even know what Toastmasters. You can't blame them. So as members of this fraternity, each one of us are the brand ambassadors of Toastmasters. It doesn't matter whether you're a VP PR or VP education or just a member of a club not holding any position. As long as you're a member of this fraternity, you automatically become the brand ambassador of Toastmasters. Now, as brand ambassadors, we all have certain responsibilities, certain jobs to do, and that is exactly what I'm here to share with you. Not about compliance, violation, this color is good, that color is not possible. No, I don't want to do that, because I want to go one step above and then request all of you that as a brand ambassador, let us go around and spread the kind of message that we are supposed to be spreading within the club and outside the club. So that's what this brand is all about. So why should we be worried about brand guidelines? Because as members of this fraternity, we are impacting two kinds of people. The Toastmasters, who are already members, and that is why I'm referring to them as Toastmasters. And they're prospective Toastmasters, which is very important, because we want more people to benefit from this fraternity. If I have benefited from this fraternity, I want to go out and share my success stories with people so that they come forward to join Toastmasters, and in the process, they benefit as well. So prospective Toastmasters should get the right message. And that's my biggest worry as a PR manager of District 120. We are a brand new district, but we've been there for ages, but yet we need to follow certain rules so that we don't dilute the value of the brand that we are all associated with. And that's exactly what I want to be talking here. So interestingly, when I was trying to download the latest copy of the brand guidelines yesterday, the Toastmasters website was down. I couldn't access the website. I got a little worried because today is the session. I'm not able to download the brand guidelines. I was about to ping people. Then I thought, okay, let me wait for some time. Maybe it is undergoing some maintenance. And to my surprise, when the website came up, it was down because they were updating the latest brand guidelines. They were updating the latest brand guidelines. That means I'm as clueless as any of you about the latest brand guidelines, because it's just 1 day old. It's fresh out of the oven. It has been circulated in a lot of WhatsApp groups around the world. People have started talking about it. Maybe this is the right time for us to be talking about it. So I'm going to be on your side. Open up the brand guidelines and see what are the changes that they brought about, and how easy or difficult is it for us to understand what they mean by these new brand guidelines. So I'm going to quickly jump into that. Okay, so before I do that, if any of you are wondering where do I go and see the brand guidelines, so it is in the Toastmasters website, you go to resources, and under resources, you will find brand portal, and you have everything there. Whatever you got to know about the brand, you don't need anybody to come and educate you on the brand. And one of the sections is the brand guidelines. You can either view it there or you can download that as a PDF file. The PDF files are available. You can ask anybody, they will share it, or reach out to your area director or the division director. They all have a copy with them. And they can share that with you. Let me just quickly open the brand guidelines from my system so that it's easy for me to share that, right? Fantastic. So if there is any questions? Am I sharing that? I think there's something wrong. So let me just share again. I hope you are able to see it. Can somebody give me a...
Yes, we can see.
All right. Okay. So this is something most of you would have seen. I don't want to bore you with every content that is there, but I want to quickly run to one part of this. This is the new brand guidelines. I love this document because I've been seeing the earlier version. to be honest, I've not been all that impressed, but this one is so refreshing. I love the design elements. I love the usage of colors. I love the images that they have used. So as I'm going through this brand guidelines, I want you to maybe steal some design ideas for your next poster. Yeah, our job should be to see how simple can I make these promotional materials. You don't have to make it really complicated. I run an organization where we conduct workshops on visual branding. We run corporate workshops, mostly IT organizations. So in that, we have a particular section where we talk about subtraction. Subtraction. What I mean by that is, imagine this is a poster that is right on your screen. Welcome brand ambassadors. Imagine that's the poster. What we do is we apply this concept of subtraction. What I mean by that is, if I remove certain aspects of this poster, will it still retain its value that it's supposed to be made for? If I remove certain aspects of this poster, will it still retain the value that it is supposed to be meant for? Just imagine in this case, I remove this lady. I think it is not the right thing to do. There is a thin line right behind the head of that lady as a watermark. Imagine I remove that. Will this poster lose its value? The probable answer is no. Why is it there? Maybe additional cosmetic value, then you park it there. And that is how you start removing. The next question is, there are these small, cute little mic icons that you see there. Now the question is, what if I'm going to run my cursor there. I hope all of you will be able to see it. So these are mic icons there. What if I remove that? Will they still retain the value? I think my answer is yes. I don't need that. So this is how we will have to make decisions when it comes to coming out with a poster. Just because you like rhombuses and circles and triangles and all that, don't flood your poster with that for no use. That's my advice to all my participants who participate in my workshops. So the same thing applies here as well. But if they add value to it, even as a cosmetic aspect, I think you can keep it there. For example, if you ask me, should I remove this mic on the left, which is white in color, I would say, hey, let it be there. That says a lot. But probably these mics are maybe not that impressive. So let me tell you, creativity is subjective. What you like, I might not like. What I like, you might not like. So there's nothing wrong or right here. As long as we are within the guidelines, anything is acceptable, right? So let's not worry about that. So this is where I want to jump straight into the brand platform. So if you look at the colors, I want you to just notice the colors that they've used. You will find certain colors missing. So they have actually done away with those colors. And they've brought in the gradient colors, which is a great idea. And another aspect I loved about the whole thing is, do you see the yellow working as the highlight there? So it's usually called, in branding parlance, it's called the accent color. So they've actually brought the yellow as an accent color. You want to emphasize certain things in your material, you can use the yellow. That's what they mean. And what does the voice and tone of our brand really mean? What you read on the right is what the voice of Toastmasters is about. We are definitely friendly, we are warm, right? We are international, we are very clear in our communication. We are, of course, pretty professional. So that is what the voice and tone is all about. Now coming to the visual guidelines, this is where I want to just spend some time, how you need to represent the logo. I'm quickly going through this because you can read and understand this. You don't need a session like this to coach you on these stuff. So Right. I want you all to just go through this. A new thing that they've added is since 1924. If you can see my cursor, that's something that you are allowed to add to the logo when you do promotional material. Yeah, and that's a very strong message that we all can cascade to people outside Toastmasters, that we've been around since 1924. That's a very strong message. So quickly, I'm going to just spend 1 minute here, how not to use the logos. And the background colors for logos cannot be non-brand colors. That's what they mean by this. They cannot be non-brand colors. You cannot edit and put your club name or district name inside the logo. What they are saying is don't touch the logo. Leave it alone. So that's what they mean by that. But on the left is what are the ways by which you can make use of the logo, and other lines like the district number can come straight here. Yeah. Oh, great. So this is one space I want to spend some time. Right now, only 3 colors are there as part of the primary colors. The true maroon, the loyal blue, and cool gray. Really lovely colors. And if you notice, the accent color is moved, the yellow is moved as an accent color. So they've done away with the rest of the colors. Yeah. So these are the primary colors that we can use. We haven't got much of clarity as to how exactly to use this, but based on the earlier brand guidelines, I think the rules are the same, that we can use these 3 in our promotional materials as part of the primary colors. And if we want to accent certain aspects of the poster, like the headings, subheadings they have here, you can use the happy yellow. I love the names that they've given to these 4 colors. We will have a quick Q&A quickly. I want it to be more interactive so that we answer as many questions as possible. So that's why I'm just moving a little faster. Pathways has a separate logo, and this is how it has to be used. So please download these pathways. Wherever you have to refer to it, you can refer to it. Pathway badges are something new. Honestly, I have no idea where to use and how to use it. I'm going to learn in the next couple of days, and probably I'll send out a communication through the division directors or area directors, and then maybe try and educate ourselves. Right now, I'm sorry, I'm clueless. I'm going to skip this. I have a session with the international PR team on July 22nd. Only after that session, I will probably graduate properly. So until then, if there is any ambiguity, I'm going to leave that here because I don't want to confuse people and give away wrong messages. Fonts. I want you people to notice the fonts. Even the fonts have been shortened, meaning decreased. The acceptable fonts. We all create posters with some amazing fonts. I've done that in the past. In the past, meaning even 3 months ago. So, but right now I have to be conscious so that you all will be conscious. Gotham is a font that they recommend, meaning you're supposed to use it. But if you don't have Gotham, because you need to pay for it, you can use the equivalent called the Montserrat. In fact, in my PPT, I've used the Montserrat font. I love this font. District 120 is written in this font. The moment I saw this font, I fell in love with it, and I thought the District 120 should be mentioned in this font. Yeah, Montserrat is something that I want you people to note down and pass it on to your club people. The next font is Myriad Pro. Again, this is a licensed version, and some districts already have the licensed version of this font. No problem. You can use the alternate, which is Source Sans Pro. You can download that for free. You can use that font as well. I've not been a great fan of this font, but if I were to use it, I'll probably use it in some places. Yeah. And okay, there is, yeah, there is Arial also, but I don't know where. Did I miss that page? Okay. Arial.
Then Arial is the tertiary font. It's given in the Sans Source Sans page itself.
Oh, is it? I didn't read that. Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering, where did Arial go? Yeah. So that's the tertiary font. That's the commonly used font. here they're recommending that we can use it as a subtitle font. I've used it in my PPT as a subtitle font, the second level. So now coming to images, I think here is where we all have quite a lot of confusions and ambiguity. Any image that we use, someone comes and says, no, you cannot use these images. So Toastmasters is very clear. It is about people who are coming together to learn communication, leadership. So what does it mean? Often we see a group of people sitting and discussing or sitting and listening to somebody speak. So that is what the environment all about is. And they are advising that we use such kind of images. And they have an image repository with them, and we can make use of those images. If you have any ambiguity, the best is to go tap into the resources of Toastmasters, download those images and use those images. It's maybe okay, they don't resemble people in your club, area or division. They don't resemble like Indians, but it's okay. It is a representation of the environment that we are talking about. But the best would be every time you have a club meeting and you have an enthusiastic photographer in your team, ask them to bring the camera and do some photo shoots and use that for your promotional materials. That's the best thing to do, because you see yourself in some of the posters, and what better way than that to promote our fraternity. But it must be a club setting. You can't just go to a restaurant, take a picture and put it, unless the message in your material is talking about a meeting that you had over lunch or whatever it is. So they have to correlate, right? Improve communication and then put a lunch picture, it doesn't work. That's what I meant. Yeah. So this is what they mean. So photographs, sample photographs are here. If you tap into their resources folder, you will find quite a lot of images that are like these, and you can use them. I love this image. The tone of that image is really good. The shades of brown that is there, and they've accentuated using the light gray on the left-hand side. It gives a thorough professional look. Now, this is a part I don't want to touch. If you have time, I would request you to go to this part of the brand guidelines. It talks about how you can use the stationery, the email signature, and some standards and procedure for trademark. I don't think we would need this, but it's important that we all read and be aware what it is. In fact, there is a request form that you can raise if you want to make use of your own branding style for an event. You can raise a request. But when I read the brand guidelines, I know very well that will be shot down, because if you were to do your own branding, it is only accepted for the district's annual event, which is Ovation in the case of D82. That is what is acceptable, but otherwise it's not acceptable, but they still have a request form. When D120 was born, I wanted to bring in a small change in the way we represent 120. I designed it knowing very well that will be shot down, but I thought I'll try my luck. I wrote to the TI brand compliance team. They said, lovely thought. They did all the appreciation. I felt like I was listening to an evaluator, but that's what Toastmasters is all about, right? You don't want to immediately hurt that person. They appreciated our thought process and our work, but at the same time, they said, as a global organization, we must go by the brand guidelines. So we would request you not to use it. So we shot it down. Maybe some of you would have seen that initially. I was just socializing it just to see what people think about it. But later we had to knock that off. So, not that, everything is fine for some people and it's not working for certain people. We all are in it together. So we will have to collectively make sure this works for us. So I'm doing a quick time check, it's 8:05, so we have 20 minutes more. So let me close this brand guidelines here, stop it here, and then again go back to my PPT. I collected some posters from across the world. Many of you would have seen this. I'm just showing you some promotional material that have been floating around on the internet. We will all have so many questions around it. Something that came up new and that caught my attention, and I was gaga about it, is District 82's poster about the team that they announced. They kept it really simple, no fancy stuff. All that they wanted to announce was, guys, this is the team that is that's there in the new district, and we are District 82. District 82 means Sri Lanka. We are part of Toastmasters. That's it. I love that simplicity. What caught my attention was the way they made use of the font, and also the way they cropped the images. Take a very close look. Every image is of the same size. I'm not sure how they manage the same background. Somebody really good at Photoshop has done that job. And this is what I think we need to focus on, rather than adding those frills and not focusing on the hero of the poster. The hero here is the team, and the team will have to be represented really well, really large enough for people to identify, yes, that is the person that I met during Ovation. So that is how it has to be. I love this poster. Some of the elements here are as per the brand guidelines, the rays that you see on the top, and the way the Toastmaster logo is placed with sufficient margin around it, and the content, everything about this poster, I love it. Now on the right, it is Blue Ocean Academy Toastmasters. It's from a district called 105. I don't even know which part of the world they are. But what I loved is it has people, it has plain white background. I have one question here. I don't know whether the pencil and the musical tones that are there as a background, is it allowed or not? I'm not sure, because nowhere in the guidelines it's written that such kind of elements as a standalone maybe cannot be used, but with images can it be used. Such kind of clarity I will get by 22nd of July, and I will definitely share this with all of you. I'll just quickly go through the other material that I have. This is another poster from Dublin, and this is from, I don't know what that is on the right. So the one on the right is the standard Toastmasters poster that you see everywhere, the standard maroon and the blue and the yellow, right? Even without looking at the logo, we can say that it is a Toastmasters promotional material. That's exactly what branding means. Sometimes when you see red, what comes to your mind? Some of your favorite brands that are in red, right? So that's how powerful some of our usage of colors can mean, right? And knowingly or unknowingly, they've used the yellow as the accent color here. I love it. Maybe that's why the brand guidelines talks about yellow. This is called the triangle call out. It was there in the earlier brand guidelines, but now they seem to have removed it. So we would probably recommend that we will not use this triangle call out. That's what they call it, and we will probably avoid that. But the usage of images like this is absolutely welcome, because it shows a member showing some action. I don't want to dwell deep into that. Right. The next one. I love black. You give me anything in black, I will take it happily. So I love this black. Again, this is a magic wand. As per the guidelines, we are not supposed to use other than people, landscapes, nature, very specific about cartoons and illustrations. It's a strict no. No food, no animals, no nature, no landscapes. So that is what they mentioned. So I have a feeling that it comes under the people category, because it's showing the hand of a person, but this correlates with their message. And I think it is absolutely fine. On the right, I had a doubt, so that is why I put this poster here. The logo is used as a watermark. I've not seen many promotional materials with the logo as a watermark. It is not mentioned in the guideline, but I would recommend that we avoid that because it has to be clearly put across like this. But if you can put it as a subtle watermark apart from the logo here, I think it is acceptable because I don't see any reason why you should not put that. This is one interesting poster that I saw. If you look at the circle here, that's an outline of the Toastmasters logo. That's a creative way of using it. And if you look closely at this poster, they've also used the logo of Toastmasters as a watermark, but it's so subtle, I think, which is fine. It's so subtle that it's not even visible. And they've used the word mark as the logo, which is acceptable. In the guidelines, it's mentioned here. I have a strong feeling the one on the right, which talks about icebreaker, is not acceptable because that for me falls under illustration and cartoon, though it represents people, but it doesn't go by the brand guidelines. Whenever there is an ambiguity, it's better not to step that side. And for me, this is on the lines of ambiguity, and I will not venture into it and risk it there when I can do better things complying. Oh, sorry, I'm not supposed to use the word comply. So if I go by the advice of the brand guidelines, I can definitely use an alternate picture here and then make it as per the brand guidelines. Yeah, I like this. They fall under the brand guidelines, but they're too crowded. This is what I meant by subtraction. If I were to subtract things here, and you can clearly tell me, hey, you can probably remove the yellow here, yeah, and maybe the gray here, and keep it a little white, so that it's clean. But is it correct or wrong? No, you can't say whether it is correct or wrong. It is absolutely correct. Maybe there are certain regional sensitivities. Some parts of the world, they love bright colors and they love flash of colors. Maybe that's their way of life. But our side of the world, I really don't know what category we fall. Maybe simplicity. I really don't know. Maybe that's the reason. So there can be a regional flavor that is playing in certain promotional materials, which is absolutely fine. Like I told you in the beginning, there's nothing right or wrong. It is creativity is subjective, but we need to fall under this bracket of following the brand guidelines. And that is what I think we need to be focusing on. So that's it. I think it's the last slide probably I have. Yeah, another two posters that I have. I love this gray poster, which is talking about the online meeting. They straight away put a screenshot of their regular meeting, I guess, because two people did not switch on their video, and that's kind of shown in that picture. They could have photoshopped it, but it's okay, fine. They kept it very natural. I love that fact that they've kept it natural. But that's very simple, plain, vanilla kind of a design. Here, yes, I love the usage of these rhombus boxes, and they've made use of the brand colors. We can't talk about the background color because that's a natural background that is there. So you can't question that. But otherwise, this is also fine. Great. Okay, so I'm done with this. So I want to keep it now interactive and then see if we could clarify certain questions. I also have my entire PR team here. They have karachukudified the PR guideline more than me. Akash is one of the person who knows every word of what is there in the guideline. So I'll probably take his help. So, okay, somebody's waiting in the waiting room. Okay, great. Yeah, you can put it on the chat, or if you can even talk. Let's keep it free. It's 8:15, so we have another 15 minutes to go.
Hi, DTM Jayan. This is TM Ramachandran. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
So one question which came up in the past couple of days is that once the clubs had moved on to this online meeting, so one of the ways of recognizing the meeting speakers had become a way of posting certificates, which is similar to a kind of flyer design. So the TM colors were used and the logo were placed on one side. So for example, almost from the left to 30% was like a blue background with the logo, and the right side was white, saying the club name, member name, date of the meeting, presiding officer, etc. So while the flyers have the liberty to move around and officially use the logos with the backgrounds, so any of these custom certificates or any recognition materials, are these allowed to use the TM colors and logos in order to circulate within the club?
Good question, because that's one area that I didn't touch. Many people started making their own ribbons, their own certificates and things like that. These templates are available on the resources portal. You can simply download, fill that up and use that. That's the safest thing to do, so that we all sleep peacefully every night. I would recommend that. Alternatively, since it's an online meeting, you are only showing it online, you can make use of the PPT template and then just simply put that. Nobody can question you. As long as you're having the colors as specified in the brand guidelines, the way you've used the TI logo, and all that you're going to mention is the name of the person and the best speaker or best table topic speaker, and then show it on the screen. So that's the safest thing to do. I see.
Hi, Jane.
Yeah.
This is Kritika here.
Yes, Kritika.
So the branding guideline said that the primary colors have to be red and the blue and the gray. So, and you also mentioned there was one poster which had completely black. So what is it that I thought the flyer should ideally have only the primary colors. So what is your thought about that?
Earlier, the black and white were specified as the colors that you can use. But I was closely looking at the new brand guidelines, the way it has been designed. That essentially means that we can design something very similar to that. They have put their thought into how the new guidelines will have to be followed while designing this guideline, right? If you notice, there's one page where there is a small stroke of black they've used, and they've used white as well. I think black and white that way is an acceptable standard color which we can use. The question is, can the whole thing be just black? I really don't know if that is acceptable. As a background color with the primary colors, I think it is acceptable. But just the background color as black, I think that is not probably acceptable. But I love black.
Hello, Jayan. This is Karthik. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Karthik, 1 second. Before that, there are many people writing on the chat and asking questions. If possible, I'll read out those questions for the benefit of all of you and try and answer that. If you're not able to answer today, I am going to have my team collect those questions and put that as a part of an FAQ, and we will upload it on our website. So don't worry if your question is not being attended to today. But in this forum, we will collect as many questions as possible. And chances are, by these questions, we will answer those as well. But keep those questions coming. Don't think these guys are not bothering about my questions. Yeah. So go ahead, Karthik.
Yes. I would like to hear the suggestion from you. So the great manipulations and the creativities focusing on the flyers are to highlight the theme of the meeting. So what is your thumb rule that you suggest? How can I highlight the theme of the meeting to catch the eyes for the prospective Toastmasters?
Okay, I like the term you used, prospective Toastmasters. Definitely, right? Our job is to try and attract as many guests as possible in our club and get them to join our meetings. So the theme, give me an example of a theme. New Year.
Okay, Pongal, New Year. So Pongal is, we would need to have a pot and other colorful areas like New Year's, crackers.
Absolutely.
And
so
that is where all the artistic things are coming into the picture, right?
the limitation, right?
Yeah, exactly.
As long as you have people in your images celebrating Pongal, right? And then you can put it up there. Ideally, your own club people celebrating Pongal, I think that must be completely acceptable because it is a human emotion. See, why are we talking about humans in the picture is not just to show them as a model, just to show human emotions. And anything associated with human emotions is absolutely welcome because we are about celebrations and clubs will have to have such kind of themes. And I think that is certainly acceptable. But
Yeah.
just pots and sugar canes and all that, I think it's not acceptable. That falls under illustrations.
Correct. I had one follow-up question on that. Usage of logos of other brands. For example, we had a meeting called with a theme, What's Up in WhatsApp. So we used a WhatsApp icon there. That is a logo of other brand or company. So what is your thought in that?
I would ask, I don't have a strict answer to that because I myself am not aware of, what could be the guidelines. But if I go by what has been written in the guidelines, it is better to avoid a conflicting brand there. It is better to avoid. I'm not saying you should not put, I would definitely better avoid it, because if people can understand WhatsApp without the logo, it is better to use WhatsApp. This is my theory of subtraction. Will I still lose the value if I remove the icon off? Am I crossing over the borderline of guidelines? If there is any ambiguity like that, just remove it and use just the word WhatsApp. So I think that's the best way to do.
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, Jain sir. This is Harish from Ocean Toastmaster Club. So I have two questions. Number one, so recently that as per brand guidelines, the red color has been removed. So is there any reason why it's been removed? And next one, so as it's removed, so are you going to get any different colors instead of that?
Okay, fantastic. Suddenly I feel like I wrote this brand guidelines. The way you asked me the question, why did you remove it? What is the reason you removed it? So I feel nice about it. But like you, I'm also worried about that maroon because I love that color and suddenly I don't, no, not maroon, red is removed, right?
Yes.
It's removed. Probably they want to keep the confusion lesser, more colors and more confusions and all that. They thought, okay, easily related. But if you closely read the brand guidelines, each color means certain aspect of the Toastmaster tone, leadership, confidence. So that is why they limited it to the 3 colors. Yeah, so that's the only option we have, and then we'll have to live with it.
All right, thank you.
Hi, Jain.
Yes.
Prashant here from SBI Toastmasters Club. My question is, can an individual club can have their club logo, which falls under the categories that colors, which is mentioned in the guidelines? Can we have an individual logo with those aspects?
I've been bombarded with so many questions separately by many clubs, and I've said no. Individual clubs cannot have their logo brand identity. They can only mention their club name in text in an approved font by TI. That is very clear. They've clearly mentioned it. So I know it's very sad. The creativity is completely curtailed here, but that's what the rule says, because it unnecessarily confuse the prospective Toastmasters. I think that's a fair ask by an organization that is of this size, such large size.
Jain.
Hi, Jain.
Hello, Jain. This is Angiras from Chennai Speakers Forum.
Okay.
So I had a doubt, like we usually put out flyers where we don't use the TMI logo and all. So it's basically use our colors without using their any of the elements of what Toastmasters is. So now that we have this a revamp kind of a thing, is it like we have to go only with the ones that Toastmasters is recommending, or what we usually do is when we have to create something very formal or something Toastmaster related stuff, we stick to their guidelines, and on the other times we usually use our colors and our fonts. So it will not have TMI on it. So I was just wondering whether both of them, these things can go together.
Right. So there was a time, good question. I was just hoping somebody asked this question. I'm going to rephrase this question. If I don't use the TI logo in my promotional material, can I use any font, any color, because I don't use TI logo in it. That's kind of a wrong argument. People were presuming ages ago, when I used to be a Toastmaster way back in 2006 to 2008, we presumed that we are not using TI logo, we can be free. So the TI clearly recommends, this was a question raised by a few PR managers from other districts. I got a copy of that email. They very clearly mentioned, as long as you are talking about Toastmasters, please stick to the guidelines. It doesn't matter whether you are using a TI logo or not. That is why when I started, I told you that we all are brand ambassadors of TI. Just because we want to showcase our creativity, I think we should not compromise the TI fraternity's global language and what that brand stands for. Today, I realize, so if I want to show my creativity, I would probably show it elsewhere. But from a brand compliance, sorry to use that word, standpoint, we have to go by what the guideline says, whether you're using the TI logo or not. I think we have to. And it's a request. Let me tell you, there is no rule here and you better follow and things like that. It's a humble request to each one of you to propagate the brand image the way we've been asked to in that guidelines. It will immensely help us. And it will also help you in your corporate life, because all corporates are very particular about their brand image, and it has to be deployed in a certain way. So that's a good way of learning, by being compliant to the brand guidelines. But thank you for asking that question.
Are shades of the standard colors allowed?
Yes. I noticed the gradient. That means the shades of the primary colors must be allowed, but they've only used it as a gradient. So I think it is limited to being used as a gradient. So that's one way you can do it, but I am going to take this question because I have the same question with me as well. So I'm going to ask this question during my session, where they're going to explain this to us. So
especially since their brand manual itself has that blue gradient.
Yeah, the gradient is there. So I noticed all the color gradients. So maybe we can use, but separately as a shade, I'm still not sure.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, James.
Do you suggest any template for meeting invites?
Sorry?
Hello, James. This is Chanakya from Creative Toastmasters Club. As you mentioned, which is mentioned in the brand guidelines, that the pictures which are used in the flyers should be of the members who come closer to learn or to explore. But the themes, for example, if the theme is on food, then can we use the poster which shows the picture of a food or something?
No. Unfortunately, no. Nothing separate. The food landscape, animals, illustrations, cartoons, they can't come separately. A member having food, yes, because the theme is that. Yeah.
But actually the theme connects to the name food, but why shouldn't we use that picture?
You're just talking about just food, right? Like show some biryani and all of those stuffs, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and if you show biryani, I'm not going to say no, but unfortunately, you better have me sitting in front of that. Then it is approved.
Okay, so it should be like a group of people having food or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yes, and ideally, if it is club members, then we have a better way of doing it. So apparently, I've been pinged and told that my time is up. What's the time now? 8:29. Probably I'll take one last question and then answer all these questions that are there in the chat soon. We'll
just to help someone in chat who asked, we are also having the same question. Can we use the national flag in August 15th theme?
Yes,
national flags are.
I think we should be proud to use that. We can use, but if you could again bring the people along with it, then we have a strong reason that we are complying. But as a flag separately, it falls under the illustration. But I don't know, because now I'm standing in between patriotism and brand guidelines. I will definitely not give up my patriotism for that, but at the same time, I want to see how can I project my patriotism by following the guidelines. So before I answer that, I'm going to quickly come and maybe give some clarity to it, so that I don't add to the confusion. Let me see how best can I answer that, because August 15th is coming up and we all would want to have that as a theme, I understand. And let me see what is the best way to put that across in the promotional material.
Yeah. Thank you, Jan.
Yeah, thanks for asking that question. Yeah. Right?
So, it's Aishwarya here.
Yeah, Aishwarya.
So I have two queries. One is now, as per the new brand guidelines, they have mentioned two fonts, that is Gotham and Myriad Pro. Now, can we use that in bold and italic fonts?
Yes.
In italics, can we use it?
It is, in fact, one font is allowed only regular and bold,
okay.
Right? And another one is the italics is allowed. If you look at the brand guidelines, they mentioned what form of the font can be used.
Okay. And one more query is that, like, any software suggestions on your side besides Canva and Photoshop? Like, any chance, if you know?
Praveen specifically asked me, are you mentioning this? I know if some of you are Photoshop enthusiasts, you could definitely use Photoshop and Illustrator easier. By the way, I use PPT for all my promotional stuff. I love PPT. So I'm going to recommend a PPT. PPT is an amazing tool. If you can really go and explore, you can do wonders with it. But also Canva is such a simple tool. So I think you should go ahead and explore Canva a little deeper. We are even planning to conduct a session on Canva soon, so that many of us can become designers. I'm sorry, I'm not aware of any other tool. Meaning many are there, but I have not used it personally to recommend that.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So I think
one last question. This is Subramanian from Vestas Toastmaster Club.
Yes.
And thanks for the session. We came to know a lot of ways not to do the filter. Not to do the flyer. But one specific question. So assume, is there any guideline that prescribes the proportionate of image and to the overall flyer that we should use? Say, for example, today we have used image which is almost 80% of our total flyer, and it has a people joining hands in it. In the background, it has landscape. The debate is whether it complies with the guideline or not. Me and one of my colleagues were debating this for today.
Yeah, there's no rule that the image should occupy a certain percentage of the creative. There is no rule. 80% is acceptable as long as there is enough space for the logo to be there. That's number one. Number two, if the image of people has a background of a landscape, it's absolutely acceptable. So we don't have to worry about that at all.
Okay, thank you.
Right. So,
Jain, what would be the best tool for PR managers of division as well as district, as of you?
Best tool meaning to design the flyers?
Exactly.
My first option is PPT. My second option is Canva. Third option is Illustrator. The fourth option is Photoshop. So it depends on how steep can you climb in terms of expertise. But you can use any of these as long as the output is really perfect. And I have an answer from Thomas. He's the past PR manager of District 82. He says a photo of the flag in a frame using a brand color should be okay. So thanks, sir, for that input. So he says it should be okay. Then let's go ahead and use that. Yeah, because it's specific to this region, right? But yet I will try and figure out if there's something that says we can do it in a certain way.
Hello, Jayan. Can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Hi, I am Anamika from Trichy Toastmasters Club. So I just want to know if the social media posts that I use for engagement with the community, do they also have to adhere to the brand guidelines, memes and other stuff that I might post on an Instagram handle?
I have a strong feeling that the only way you can escape is if you have a personal WhatsApp exchange with members, so that the larger community is not aware what you're doing. Such kind of exchanges are completely fine, because even I exchange a lot of such stuff on WhatsApp groups. But anything that is exposed to the public, we must definitely not step over the guidelines. I would strongly recommend that we follow it. Social media, physical posters, or anything that you're doing.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, so close and hand over to me. So somebody is threatening me. So Jai Chitra, I'm sorry, you've been pinging me and saying time is up, time is up. Okay, I hope my team has copied all the chats. We will answer them definitely religiously, because these questions are very important to us. So thank you so much for your time, and over to you, Jai Chitra.
Thank you. Thank you, Jain. Jain is one of the coolest person I've met in Toastmasters. He started messaging time and again in our WhatsApp group recently to follow brand guidelines. Now it's little, I think we all need to be very cautious, and I think it is a guideline given by Toastmaster International to use their brand appropriately. It's very evident. It's very critical and important. Thank you, Jain, for the detailed session on the do's and don'ts about the Toastmasters International branding. Toastmasters, we all as Toastmasters take the role of VPPR, even we come from a different background. As Jain explained, let us not think too much or even use the words violation, complaints. After all, anything and everything can be experimented in this one and only platform, Toastmasters, with the help of the guidelines available. As District 120 members, let us all be the brand ambassadors for this prestigious brand. If you have any queries or in doubt, please write to us at pr@district120.org or reach out to your division directors or area directors. Thank you so much for joining us today. Please follow us on social media. Don't forget to register yourself for the upcoming Pathways session on 15 July. Until we meet you next, signing off from the TLI team and the district team. Happy weekend and stay safe. Thank you. Greeting everyone.